you on news and rumors that appeal. Welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. Good night from the Dusty Wheel. Like we say around here, smash to black.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, the Innkeeper, and this is your live call-in talk show all about the Wheel of Time. And even though we didn't have any new news about season 2 this week, I feel like we've had so much stuff. I mean, I can't even remember when we got the premiere date. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. It's just been a blur to me the last couple of weeks. But we know now, September 1st. And, you know, What Wednesday has been not as exciting. I mean, What series has given us some crazy stuff since then, like Shore and some leaks for season 3. But I think we had a few other leaks the last week or so about season 2 potential episode titles. So I was like, hey, let's dig into that. And I have a couple of guests tonight that I thought would be perfect for this, because there are other things that are happening in the next few weeks which are awesome stuff in the world of the Wheel of Time. So without further ado, let me welcome my two guests for tonight. I have Rebecca from Reading the Pattern, and the Nae'blis himself is here.
Stop.
Hey everyone.
Innkeeper and Os. This is the first time I've been in the inn with you.
Oh.
I'm excited.
Welcome. I like to call this the Tarvalon location of the Dusty Wheel. So
I like it.
yeah, that's
You need to
what this is.
explain that. Why is this the Tarvalon location?
Well, it's they're secrets. They will be revealed with time. Why this is the Tarvalon location, and we are.
Of course, it's a secret.
Yeah, of course, right? But also, I'm going to put this up there. The show contains spoilers, so there might be spoiler stuff that I don't want to give away. So I'm going to put this up there right now. We are going to talk about season 2, so the Great Hunt and the Dragon Reborn. So up until the end of the Dragon Reborn is what we're going to talk about tonight. Yes, you have a spoiler level within like 2 minutes of starting the show, so that's unprecedented, I think, on the Dusty Wheel. But guys, this is awesome. I haven't talked to, I think, either of you since the September 1st date came out. I mean, that's awesome, right?
Right?
Yes, very. I'm super excited about that.
Are you ready, Nae'blis?
I-
You ready?
Yeah, like it's gonna come out on my birthday. So I talked about this. It's because
Really? Oh.
it's a September 1st release date,
Yeah.
but it'll be out on August 31st
Right.
here in the United
True.
States. So like that's my birthday, by the way. I'm
That is
20
the best birthday present.
I'm 29 again. It's
Mhm.
weird
Okay.
how that keeps happening. But
Right.
So weird.
Yeah. But so August 31st, big watch party in Columbus, Ohio. But there's something else happening in Columbus, Ohio, right? Let me
I
show.
can't think of anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like weird, right? What else could be happening? Let me show you this. Wow, I keep trying to do the math here, and I always kind of forget. But we have July 14th to 16th, WalkOn, the second.
Heck yeah, we do.
You guys excited? You guys ready?
Excited, yes. Ready, no. But
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah,
I don't know I don't know that I'll feel ready even when we're starting.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think we will.
Yeah.
Because there's always stuff to do. But we're ready. We're as ready as we need to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
But I mean-
Rebecca's done a lot of the work, so
Mhm.
I want to make sure Rebecca gets a shout out, because I don't want to say she's done a lot of the work personally, because lots of people have worked,
Yes.
but she's here, so I'm going to single her out. She's awesome and has done a lot of work. So,
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's a lot of work, but there a lot of people are involved, and they're awesome people. So
mhm.
it's been going great.
Yeah, no, I think it's still maybe a couple weeks still till in-person membership are available. I think June 19th. Is that sound right?
Yeah, you got 12 more days if you want to show up in person.
Okay.
In Columbus, but and the hotel's block actually closes then too. We've already like blown past our first hotel block and we're in like overflow, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But if you can't make it in person or you don't think you'll be able to sign up on time, there is a really, really good virtual option.
Yes.
And I say that actually last year I was like really afraid to say we have a virtual option because I wasn't sure how it would go. But last year I'll toot our horn a little bit. We nailed it on the virtual. Like,
I mean, I can attest to this. I was there. I did both because
Mhm.
I was there
Yeah.
for like 40 hours or something. So I was there
Oh.
like Friday to I think I left like early Saturday morning. So most of Saturday and
Oh.
Sunday I did virtual, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I can join in all the panels, and so yeah, anyone who cannot make it, the Discord itself, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I can't wait for that to open, but
Soon.
yeah,
One
I think
week.
it's yeah.
1 week from now.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you
That
should ask Rebecca too, just because I'm going to prompt it. We're even like upping the game on the virtuals this year too, because last year we had like some involvement, right? Like from people at home, but like this year we like specifically designed the panels so that you're going to be able to interact. Like we're going to have somebody manning yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So we've just put like extra effort. So like last year, like Nae'blis said, like we didn't know how much we were going to be able to deliver on the virtual side, but we did. And so we were like putting even more effort into it to make sure that the virtual experience is awesome. And that there's even extra content available if you do want to go. Like you can get all the basic stuff, all the panels, all the main sessions. If you do the regular virtual ticket. And if you want to bump up a little bit and do the virtual VIP ticket, you get extra content. So we've created and like come up with extra content that we're doing for those ticket holders, and we're just integrating it like through making sure that if you're watching virtually, you're getting to be a part of it. You're able to comment, ask questions, participate. And the Discord is awesome, as I
Yes.
mentioned before. So
Yeah.
you should definitely do the virtual option if you can't make it.
Yeah.
I totally just noticed you had a WatCon background, Rebecca.
Yes.
Yeah. You see it all the time. You don't even see it anymore. It's like
Right?
it's all you see now. It's like, yeah, that's like
I'm just like fully branded tonight because they've got reading the pattern. I've got WatCon. I got my Dusty
Yeah.
mug. Just
Yeah.
all branded.
right on brand. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There you go. I mean,
Actually, you know what? And then
okay.
Yeah.
Well, are you like? I mean, can you see what I have there? Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
all right, I got one more to show off.
Okay. Oh wow.
This
Okay,
one is
okay.
full shill though because Amazon
Okay.
gave me this in London. So
Very sweet.
All right.
when
so
they
let's-
paid me to give them a 5.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
With a mug.
Yes, with the mug.
But yeah, no, I
Very
mean, WalkCon is amazing. I can't wait to see everyone who can make it out there. Still a couple weeks to get your membership and make it out there. It will be awesome. I have no doubts about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think it'll be cool. Thank you guys for doing all of the stuff you do for WalkCon. Thanks. But tonight, this was, I think, I forget the date now. I had it and now I forget. It's over a year ago that this was shared by the Tweeter of Chaos. So we know episode 1 of season 2 is called A Taste of Solitude. And so we've known this for a while. We know there's 7 more episodes. And in the last week or so, we've had 2 kind of leaks of lists of episodes. And, some of these, one list at least, is hilarious. So what do you guys think? Just at least that first episode, A Taste of Solitude, got a good, what were you guys maybe, first, maybe in going back, were you impressed with the names of season 1 episodes? What did you guys think?
I think I cut out for a second, but
Yeah, there was a little freeze there.
Oh, I think it looks
We are-
good.
Back? Hopefully we're back.
And we're back.
Yeah.
What's that from? Anyways.
But
We
yeah,
just
so
had a little taste of solitude. That's all.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? A taste of solitude, is that, what does that mean to you? Is that something, what is that hinting at?
I would say, I mean, the two things that like spring immediately to mind, for me, like thematically, that, we saw Rand kind of go off on his own at the end of season one. So I think at least initially we're going to see that he's kind of been on his own for a bit. I mean, I don't think he's going to be on his own for the whole episode. I think that, there'll be something inciting that happens and he'll connect with someone else somewhere along the line. But I think we'll get that. And then the other thing that comes to mind for me is Maureen and Lan not having the Bond connection.
Mm-hmm. I'll
Right,
add
yeah.
one more because I agree. I would add in Matt.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you'll see Matt, because we've seen the pictures, the leaked pictures of like Matt crying in the.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that we're going to see lonely Matt in the White Tower or something, and I think usually like an episode title is usually not as tied. Like it's probably strongly tied to one arc in the episode, but it's usually kind of loosely tied to all of the arcs in the episode.
Yeah.
That's usually how shows do it.
Yeah.
They try to be kind of vague with it. So I would bet you we're going to see a lot of solitude from a lot of people. Maybe even Egwene being on her own doing dishes or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right,
it won't be
exactly.
as strong for some of the characters as for others, but like there'll be a little bit of it for all of them.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, I think we know that the two pictures, the first look pictures, the Matt picture and the Egwene picture, are from episode one.
Mhm.
So that fits too, right? I mean, she's kind of doing dishes or in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And
They're in the tower.
they're in the
seemingly.
tower, right? Exactly.
Mhm.
So I think a taste of solitude is basically, well, everyone's kind of by themselves, doing their own journey, and that makes sense. It's a kind of start. Yeah, I think it's an okay name to start. But let's look at this list and kind of talk about what you think. What could this mean? So this was
It's probably
I
not a
found
good sign when we're laughing already before we put it up on screen.
this is
and
funny.
us.
I mean, I know,
mean-
but it's like I tried to look at many different places for this, and this I think I took this specific screenshot from, I think it's tvdatabase.com, it's tvdb.com, but there's many other sites that are like, TV guides and things like that have all these episodes and has these names. So episode 2 is Blood Boiling. Episode 3 is Oblivion Crown. 4 is Kindly Stranger. 5 is Sword in the Stomach, because obviously. 6 is Victims of Night. 7 is my favorite, Horses.
Mine too.
Yeah. And 8 is Call of the Plunder.
Whatever that means.
So what do you guys think? Like, first kind of again, just to kind of, these are all leaked, or
Totally leaked. Yeah,
Yeah.
very real.
Yeah,
Accurate.
exactly. Yeah. So
I think the fact that it's out there on a bunch of places, I mean, it all still originates from some original one source, but maybe someone in chat will remind me like where this showed up in the first place, but it was something sketchy. And I mean, it's just, to me, this just seems like very obvious.
So I have 3 theories here.
okay.
Yeah.
3 theories.
Let's
right?
hear 'em.
It's one of these 3 things.
Okay.
Number 1, this was just completely made up, and
Yeah.
somebody's being fun.
Yeah.
Number 2, okay, this is like one of the, like, somebody plugged in, what would the 8 episodes of season 2 of the Wheel of Time be about into Chat GPT, and this is the thing that
Yes.
popped out.
Yeah.
Okay. And number 3, probably the most likely, these have some basis in reality, but they were originally written in a language that does not translate well to English. So when somebody translated it, it was very poorly done. That's what this reminds me of, is like when you've seen a translator app
Yep.
translate
Yeah.
something wrong.
Yep. Exactly.
Except horses could really probably be nothing but horses. So
Yeah. That's the
So-
only one
so-
where I'm like, how do you mistranslate horses? What is that?
I didn't do this, but I did think of, like, have Google translate all of these to like Czech or something, and then have a Czech person like actually translate it. Someone
Yeah.
who like speaks and be like, okay, what does that come to? I don't know if it would work like that. You could reverse engineer it like that, but
You
I
get
think
something
you could try.
even weirder.
Yeah, exactly. That's what'll
Well,
happen probably.
you know, Anas, here's what we could do, right? Rather than talking about the show for real, what we could do is just make up what these episodes would actually be about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. I had a little bit of a similar idea, but I was going to say, okay, because I have a list of chapter titles from the first three books,
oh
and
goodness.
how
Yeah.
could we maybe match them, or say, okay, what could so let's just start with that first one, right? Blood boiling. If we just look at blood boiling, what possibly? I mean, there's the obvious one I'm going to put out there is blood calls blood, right? We've
Yeah.
already
Uh-huh.
done that. That's
We already did
happened.
that.
We did that. But what else could blood boiling refer to or reference?
Somebody getting cooked in a Trolloc cook pot.
There you
Duh.
Okay.
go.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a Fane episode right
Fane
there.
episode. Okay.
Mhm.
What about from the fact that we have that bloody hand and
Ooh,
from behind
Yeah.
the scenes that one person is they're all
covered in
bloody.
blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the list of you can just quickly look at. These are all the chapters from The Great Hunt. So I got this. The best place I thought I could find this is to what encyclopedia. If some of the mods
Mhm.
can put that in the chat. It's because I quickly try to look within each kind of chapter if it kind of maybe made sense and matched to something. But Blood Calls Blood is chapter 7, so we know that is Faldara. That's where the Rock Prophecy comes from. But really, nothing else really matches boiling or anything like that, at least from here. When I quickly looked at this, and then if we look at the Dragon Reborn, again, when I looked at this, there wasn't anything that was close to that, and I was like, okay, so this is clearly something that if it's related, it's hard to make any kind of connection that I could find other than Blood Calls Blood and that bloody hand.
Yeah, they're just too weird, those titles.
No, there's no basis in reality.
No.
Okay.
None.
So if this happens, we need to see Fane and a Trolloc,
And then
yeah.
and then there's obviously the Bella episode, and beyond that we have nothing.
Right?
Well,
Like, horses is very
Wait,
clearly.
No, I have a theory about that. So
Okay.
Ooh,
yeah,
I'm
we'll get to that.
excited.
We'll get to yeah.
Is this
no,
a
so
loony theory or a real theory?
you guys can be the judge of it. So,
Mm.
but what about Oblivion Crown? Is that something that makes you think of anything in particular? Is that
No.
I mean, there is crown. So
There's crowns.
so who can have a crown? Lan has a crown, maybe.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that
Sure.
there is
Kinda.
the daughter heir of Andor that might be
I mean, it's
introduced.
probably to do with a certain character that we know of as one person
Okay.
who likes Oblivion, but we don't know who he really is. I'm trying to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
but
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yes,
Yeah,
that could likely, but I mean, by and large, I think it's probably AI generated and not accurate.
exactly. Yeah. Mr. James says Obsidian Crown. I don't know if that makes me think of anything particular. I don't think so. Nothing comes to mind there. So yeah, what about this? And I'll show you the other list, which seems more accurate. But this
Yeah.
this is Kindly Stranger. Now there is one that I think it was in The Great Hunt. Let me try to find it. But what makes Rebecca? Any thoughts on Kindly
I mean,
Stranger?
that is more. That one just sounds very generic,
Mhm.
but there are chapter titles in the Wheel of Time that reference strangers, like more than one,
Yeah.
I think. And in fact, one of the other ones in the other list mentions strangers.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Yep.
so that one is like the closest to something sort of Wheel of Time like, but it's also super generic.
Yeah. So this from the Great Hunt episode, chapter, where is it? 3. It's Friends and Enemies. So,
Yeah.
similar-ish. But I mean, Kindly Stranger, there's, that's an easy one to maybe, introduce something, right? What do you like? What strangers? There are many strangers that could be, right?
It's just a bad episode title because
I mean,
it doesn't
can
like
you name one good
boring.
episode title here other than horses?
No.
My favorite though is Sword in the Stomach.
So, okay, what do you think that
So
could be?
literal.
So the only thing I could think of with Sword in the Stomach is sheathing the sword. Like
Yeah.
like
Eating the sword. Sure.
which is
Yeah.
again, I mean, if you think at the end of the Great Hunt, right? There is
Yeah.
a sword
Yeah.
in the stomach,
Yeah, there's a
and
thing.
that so that could be it. It's not episode 5, but at least
Oh,
that's there.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Victims of Night. I mean, I'm trying to think like how is that if that's from Daughter of the Night, right?
Yeah.
Like how is
okay.
that? I mean, I guess it makes some sense, but okay. So here's my horses theory. Okay.
Okay.
It's the episode we're going to see Fail be introduced as
Oh.
Mandarb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
that's the that's why it's called horses. There's more horses. It's Mandarb. Actually not Mandarb. It's Fail.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, okay. I think you have it all wrong, Anas. Okay, that's a great idea. I love it about Fael. But the reality of it is, this is sort of like, I don't want to give Game of Thrones spoilers, but they did this like side episode with like the Hound off doing something. This is totally a side, like we step away from the plot and we follow Bella throughout the episode, just traveling throughout Randland.
Okay.
That's what this is. Interacting with other horses. Very real. Actually, can you imagine if they did
Pretty.
that? Like we're all serious and then there's one episode of just like Bella.
I have a feeling like all of actual like Wheel of Time book fans will be like, yes, we love this.
Yeah. They'd probably be okay with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get past the initial kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, Call of the Plunder again sounds so much like like the grave is no bar to my call. It's like a horn, kind of thing. So there is something to it where you're like, there is maybe some truth to these.
But it's the AI like chat GPT
exactly
sounding stuff is what it is. It's like there's elements that are almost right, but when you put it together, it's like dead wrong, like horrible episode titles, like let alone anything else.
I will draw a line in the sand right now. If these are the actual 8 titles of the episodes of this season, I will not watch any of them.
Okay. Wow.
I'm done.
Heard it.
I have retired. You heard it here.
I'm out.
Except for horses. I will watch horses.
You'll watch horses? Okay.
Just that one.
This actually ties back into the Looney theory.
Riot.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow.
What about the horse? What was that Looney theory from
the equestrian?
Yes.
Cinematic universe. Yeah.
Yes, this is part of the equestrian cinematic universe.
Yeah.
I see Kevin Angus in the chat, my best friend.
Yeah.
Kevin Angus knows about the equestrian cinematic universe. He was all about it.
Yeah.
So.
No, there's a lot of Twitter Discord about that too, and pretty cool stuff. But yeah, so I mean, those I think are very likely some truth to it, but we can't really make that leap, that connection back to what it really is. But it maybe gives you a little bit of sense. Okay, there's going to be one about the horn. There's going to be one about maybe Daughter of the Night or Lanfear or something like that, and things like that. But this is from the WGA website. This was shared by Camille Rational Nerd. I think one of their friends found this on that website. So it's put in by Mesquite Productions, which is a company that has some kind of relation with Sony Television. And if you look at it, has the episode titles for season 1, and then there's 6 other at the bottom: Daughter of the Night, Demane, it's spelled wrong. Eyes Without Pity, Strangers and Friends, What Might Be, and then A Taste of Solitude is also there. And the last kind of 5 were published there on April 30th, 2022. So now these do seem a little bit more realistic episode titles, to the point that at one point some of these scripts could have been named this. Before we kind of talk about this is a live call-in talk show. So if you have thoughts about why horses should be an episode title for season 2 of The Wheel of Time, call and let us know. It's 1313-TALK-WOD. That's 1313-825-5968. And convince Nae'blis, or who, I don't know if maybe you can convince. Okay. But what do you think? So that first one, Daughter of the Night, like that would be a great episode title, right? I mean, we know to some degree that Lanfear is, in the show, just with some of the things that have happened. There's that small leaked video of someone walking, and this seems to be, to me at least, some degree of confirmation that she'll be in the show.
You never had any doubt that Lanfear was going to be in season 2, so that is not at all a shock to me. But
yeah, in terms of timing though, so let's start to see. Okay, we know Daughter of the Night, Demane, Eyes Without Pity, Strangers and Friends, and What Might Be. Where would this lie, and what would this? I mean, this would be a Lanfear episode, right? When do you want to see a Lanfear episode? Be in the whole structure of season 2.
I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and put that as episode 2.
Okay.
And say that Lanfear is introduced in episode 2. But
okay.
Maybe we don't know it's her yet. But
so maybe do you think we'll see like a cold open of maybe that bloody hand and Ishamael?
I mean, I think don't think we'll know like what Lanfear is doing, where she is, what guise she's in right away. But so I mean, they could go different ways about it. I mean, you could introduce her, in, like you said, through a cold open, but without connecting her to where she's where she is, what she's doing currently. And maybe you see that in the episode 2. Maybe you see her alter ego in the episode, but you don't know that it's her.
Right.
But I do think it would make sense to introduce her fairly early in the season, but not necessarily episode 1. I think episode 2 could work. I mean, I think part of why I think this could be episode 2 is because of where I think the other episode titles would fall, and because I am assuming that these are the first 6 and that we don't know what episode 7 and 8 are called.
I think that's absolutely accurate.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up. Last time around, we didn't know the last 2 episode titles up until I think during the season. I think we didn't know what they were.
We didn't.
Yeah. But the first 6 we knew in advance, right around this time, I think. So
in fact, this like being on here tonight with you guys is like giving me major flashbacks, because I'm thinking about season 1 when we had those 6 episode titles, and I remember Nae'blis's video breaking down like how they could do like 2 books in a season. I remember being on the Dusty Wheel talking to Matt and John about the episode titles and trying to like make a puzzle out of it, and it was bringing me back.
They did not follow my suggestions.
They did.
So
well, I feel like you were mainly just trying to prove a point that it.
I was, but
still, it brought me right back to all that. So.
Yes. I don't know who's in chatting as me, but there's someone chatting as me in chat.
Anas, I see you talking crap about me.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
I have never been wrong in my life. Okay, I have predicted the season 2 release date successfully 7 times now.
Okay.
So
all right, I'm gonna poll people here. I'm gonna end this last poll I started before. So I asked people, when will we actually find out about officially from Prime? And I said July, San Diego Comic-Con, August or June. Most people think it won't be this month, and it's like kind of split between August and July. I feel like it might be a San Diego Comic-Con for some reason. I think it's this. That's one of the things that you could release at a big convention, and we get to know that because you could kind of try to think, when do screeners go out, and I think that's what probably will happen. About 6 weeks out, screeners start to go out, and that's when probably the
Well,
first
that
6
depends on if they like their season, but yes.
Yeah, well, yes, of course they'll like it. I mean,
Not always. That's not always the case.
Always
Actually.
true, but let's keep our fingers crossed.
yeah, exactly. But I think that makes sense. Probably. So, but let me ask. Is this? We can't have a Dusty Wheel without a Lanfear. Is Lanfear confirmed with this leaked episode title? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you guys think? I think we here think yes, for sure. I just
Guys, I was under NDA, but I'm gonna break it and tell everybody anyway. The real reason Matt has been kind of a little shaky on hosting the Dusty Wheel lately. Matt was actually cast as Lanfear in the show.
I knew it.
He's been filming. He's deep into filming on season 3.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to break that. Sorry, Amazon, but Matt Hatch playing Lanfear. Heard it here.
Yeah.
I'm never wrong.
Yeah. And
That mug was not enough to buy off your silence.
So I'm glad you did. You
better.
kept like a little bit of secret. I'm gonna reveal that secret. They're changing Lanfear to Manfear. That's
Correct. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
duh, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. So that's Daughter of the Night. I think episode 2 makes sense. I think introducing Forsaken, introducing Lanfear early, even if we don't know who she is, and if they want to do a secret kind of thing throughout the, who is Lanfear or is everyone Lanfear, and they do that, and that'd be awesome. But
Everyone would be here.
yeah, exactly.
Lanfear's
That
the
would
new
be,
Mephisto.
what
Never
about
mind.
this?
Nobody can get that.
Damane. I don't know if they purposefully have changed that spelling, or is that just a misspelling? But regardless, that's
Typo, accident.
yeah,
I would
yeah.
say.
That's referring to a more of a Sean Chen episode, right? You would want to see some of that right away in the first 2, but maybe you don't have to see them, right? Because we're trying to think who will be. None of the main characters will be in Falma at the start, right? They have to get there somehow.
Right.
So we have some clues about when some of the characters are in Falma, based on the stills that we have released, and we know what episodes they're from. So I think the earliest we have any characters that we are definitely in Falma is episode 5, because the photo we have of where Loyal is with the Shan Chan, that's episode 5.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they could be there earlier, but that's the earliest we know for sure that we'll have some characters there.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that we will see them in episode 4. And the reason I say that is I think that episode where we do see Loyal that Rebecca just mentioned, I think that comes after there's a scene that we saw in the teaser.
Yeah.
With Loyal screaming, no, and they're catching the Shinarans and all that. So my guess is that happens in episode 4. And then this is the aftermath.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can see Shan Chan in any episode, but that doesn't necessarily mean we'll see them with our main characters. We could see them we've gotten a little hint of them, so we might get other little hints of them maybe if they want to tease it.
Right.
But I have strong feelings about what episode the Damani episode is going to be.
Okay. So
I was having a discussion in the Watt series Discord about this, because I've been thinking about it, for this, and then I was talking about it there, and so again, this is working off of what some of the other things we know. So the photo that was released of Nynaeve, where she's wearing a shift, and it looks like she's in the set that they showed at Jordan Con. Probably her accepted test.
Yes.
All right, so that's episode 3.
So what are you going to call that?
I'm calling that what might be.
Yeah, that's what might be. Although, look, there's an
Although,
argument that what might be, and that actually might make sense with the timing, because what might be, again, it's usually tied to one strongly to one plot line,
yep.
Yes.
but then it ties in loosely to others. So
Yes.
that could also be the episode that we happen to get not only Nynaeve doing that, but we could also get some flicker happening in that
Exactly.
episode.
Yes, I think we could too. Because, I mean, if we're going to get the flicker, like with the portal stone or whatever, it doesn't necessarily have to happen like as Rand is going to Falma, even. Like he could use the portal
Mhm.
stone earlier and have it happen. So
Yeah.
like they can, anytime they have him like use a portal stone, it could happen. So I think that it, like if they're going to do it, it could tie in that same episode
Yep.
and match the theme.
Well, and
Some
again,
version of it
they
anyway.
showed the Waygates again.
Mhm.
So I think I'll go back to my podcast co-host Jess, the Amerlin Seed on Tarvalon After Dark. Last year, when they even, or not last year, I guess it's been years now,
Mhm.
when we first saw the
Yeah.
quote unquote Waygate,
Yes.
right? She said, nope, they're definitely probably going to do the Waygate. They're going to combine what a Waygate and a Portal Stone are into the same thing, right? And so maybe it does
Maybe.
both.
Could be.
Yeah.
I would bet you, I mean, because we don't have any the ways stuff from the books in the Great Hunt. Yet we've seen a Waygate on the beach. We've seen the Waygate
Yeah.
in right.
They
They only
try
show
to
them. They
use
don't win
it
them.
at one point. They do
They don't
try
go
to
in.
use it at one point, but they don't go in because
Right.
because Machin is there. But
Yeah.
yeah, so but we see like a couple different waygates, so it seems like
Mhm.
people do travel by it. In
But the Waygate could be the Portal Stone, is my point, right?
Yeah,
So they
I mean-
could be doubling it up and saying it has another function, and that's how you can channel to use it, and they could try to show.
yeah,
Yes.
I have considered that they might do something different to get the flicker scene, that it may not
Sure.
come about in the same way, because we don't necessarily need to get into mirror worlds as cool as it is. We don't necessarily absolutely need to get into that.
Yeah.
So maybe they're gonna get
So,
to
yeah.
that scene in a different way. I don't know.
Right, exactly. You don't necessarily need to go to mirror worlds to have the flicker exist.
Right.
Right. Which again is, I would rather have that than be like, no, I need the mirror worlds and flicker and all that. I'd rather, if we only get flicker and they have to cut the mirror worlds, okay. I mean, I'd still take that.
Between the
So-
two, flicker is more like iconic, I think, in the series. Whereas the mirror worlds are like a cool world building thing that is sort of
Mhm.
like, we don't get that in every,
So
story. So
that
that's
gives me a
cool, but
thought.
it doesn't show up
It's
again, really. So
somewhat tangential to what we're talking about, but it gives me a thought, Rebecca.
yeah.
Not to bring up WatCon again and us, but we have two guests coming, Michael Kramer and Kate Redding, who are the audiobook readers. And last year they did some really emotional readings. What if when we did the readings at WatCon, we just handed Michael the flicker, see how many
Totally.
times he can go flicker, right? Like he does in the book.
I mean,
Would
you
anybody be
have
entertained
to, you
by
have
that?
to, you have
we
to
just
make
do
this
that?
happen now. Yeah.
Read flicker over and over again.
Poor Michael. Totally.
Michael.
No, it's an iconic scene though. So yeah,
Yeah.
and that's part of why. But yeah.
No, for sure.
So anyway, well,
Okay,
it
so-
seems like we kind of like all are sort of agreeing that what might be could be episode 3, and that it might refer to like multiple things.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I'm just going to show,
some version
if,
of a flicker.
so chapter 37, Great Hunt, is what might be, and 49 is what was meant to be. So, there's this, those are, again, I doubt it's going to be an end of the season kind of thing, but it is a, they could use that for many things, and they can use it for the accepted test and flicker, in the same way. And maybe one other thing is Egwene dreaming. If they're going to introduce dreaming at this point and introduce Varen early and starting to dream, Egwene could be seeing things and things like
totally.
that. I mean, what I was hoping was, I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but Egwene dreaming of her pool scene, because we never saw the pool scene.
Oh yeah.
Just seeing the colors, that would be cool.
Might be,
So
But-
yeah, what do you think? Yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, I mean, so I was somewhat working off of that. Like, okay, so the accepted tests. Well, I don't know if it, maybe it'll just be Nynaeve, but I kind of think it might be Nynaeve and Egwene
Mhm.
both having accepted tests in episode 3. because I don't think that like Egwene's going to be in the tower next season to be doing that. So I think it's like going to happen.
Mhm.
And
Hmm. So
so
before you move on from that thought, though,
yeah, yeah,
so the only thing that gives me pause, I would agree with you 100%, if not for Rafe saying
I know
we're
what
using
Rafe
this
said.
room a little bit in season 3
Mhm.
as well.
So here's my thought on that, because I had that same thing, which I'm like, okay, so are they going to somehow be back? But we know
Mhm.
enough about like that season 3 is going to more closely follow the Shadow Rising. So I don't see how that works with that.
I
And I'm
agree.
just wondering if they could use that room for something else, which now I could mention something that's a Shadow Rising spoiler, so maybe I shouldn't. I don't know, because we only said through
Oh
the Dragon
yeah,
Reborn.
yeah, yeah. Let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think there's some tower drama that
Hmm.
happens in the Shadow Rising, and I
Agreed.
think they might be able to repurpose that set for some tower drama. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Again, it does make me wonder because I agree with you on the whole. Like they really can't do more there. Just leave it. I mean, without saying more,
Yeah.
I don't think Egwene is going back.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
doesn't fit with the what we know that season 3 being a closer adaptation of the Shadow Rising. Just doesn't
Hmm.
fit.
yeah, it
So,
Yeah.
doesn't.
um, so anyway, I think it would make sense again if because what I'm thinking is going to happen is okay, you have like Nynaeve and Egwene and probably Elaine too, raised to accepted, and then you get into Dragon Reborn plot where Swan is then tasking them to search out
Mhm.
Black Aja.
Okay.
Um, and that is what leads them out of the tower. Sort of combining those two plots of the Dragon Reborn and the Great Hunt. So
Right.
I'm thinking like, so I'm envisioning like, okay, if they're raised in episode 3, maybe episode 4 is them starting to like, look for signs of the Black Aja in the White Tower.
And a
Okay.
specific red sister
Mhm.
convinces them that she can help them search them out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
Yeah.
follow
exactly,
along.
something like that. And okay, so we have a still from episode 4, which is Elaine holding a lantern. She's wearing white and she's holding a lantern. So I'm thinking she's wearing white, so she should still be in the tower. This shouldn't be like she's out of the tower yet. 'Cause she's still
Hmm.
wearing white. But that might be like the searching the storerooms and things like that from the Dragon Reborn.
So do you think that Leandrin's ploy to lead
Mhm.
them to Falma is
Yeah.
going, if that is indeed what they do, right? And I would gather it probably still, oops, sorry. I would gather that it probably still is.
Hmm.
Um, do you think that it will be, oh, come save your friend Rand, or is it, I have a feeling it's probably not that, and it probably
Yeah.
has something to do with the quote unquote quest that they're on,
Yes.
or something else. Because I think they're trying to avoid making Egwene go running off after a man, or I
I
just,
do. I
There
totally
might
yeah,
agree.
be.
I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of reasons why it would make less sense for Leandrin to say anything like that about Rand, given the way things were left at the end of season 1, where Egwene is supposed to think that Rand is dead anyway. So I don't know how long that's going to last, but like
right.
she may very well start this season thinking that Rand is dead.
Well, and
And
Elaine has not met Rand yet either, so she's
Elaine
going to have
hasn't.
no reason to run off after Rand yet. Like, I
Yeah.
have
And
a
I
feeling
think,
it won't be that.
right. So I think, again, combining the Great Hunt with the Dragon Reborn, and the Dragon Reborn, they leave the tower
Mhm.
going after the Black Aja. So I think it's going to be that. I think
Yeah.
Swan will draft them to, look for the Black Aja. There'll be an episode where they're in the tower doing that, and then Leandrin will lure them out.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, so like I'm thinking that, and then I'm also thinking about like how long should Egwene be captured as a Damani in this
Right.
season? And I think it's pretty much going to be in the back half of the season.
Yeah.
I'm sort of so what I think personally is that if she was, let's say, captured toward the end of episode 5, and you see her like as a Damani fully like throughout episode 6, episode 7, and she's freed in episode 8, that's kind of how I see it for
Yeah.
her as a Damani, which to me makes the Damani title episode 6.
Why do you think
Okay.
they spelled it wrong, or is that a mistype?
I just think it's an error, a mistake, like typo. Like, you know how like in what was it that like Rafe showed like swans like tattoos or whatever, and like the swan name was like spelled wrong like 2 different
Yes.
ways.
Yeah.
I think it's like that.
Okay. All right. Before we move on to our next, I do see there's a caller who's been waiting for a little while. Let's bring them on to see what they have to say. Let's see here. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
This is Jen Sedai, Jaws 21.
Hey, Jen. Thanks for calling in. Awesome to hear your voice. So, do you think we're going to get horses? What do you think? Horses is going to be an episode?
Well, I picked up the phone when you said, someone tell me what horses mean. So, yes, I have a theory about horses. But everything that you guys have been saying, I agree with and was going to say. Even one of the things last week when we were full spoilers, but Rebecca, the thing you were just talking about, the Shadow Rising spoiler that you aren't saying, I am exactly of the same mind as you. Like, that's why we're going back to that room.
Okay. Cool.
I think I know where you're going. So yeah,
Yes.
I totally agree with that. I think that's a great theory. And I do think they should just raise them all. Or at least, or Egwene and Elaine never get raised. You know, I don't know. But I don't think it makes sense to go back there. It does feel like such a double beat.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could.
But here's my
Go ahead.
so
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Anna. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. No, I think I agree with all of that.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, so the horses thing, I think here's what's weird. Like I wrote down all the ridiculous titles in order, and I do think that they feel like dummy titles. Like they were just that they actually are representative of those episodes, just not the actual title, because they didn't want to leak that or didn't want that to actually get out. Because if you look at them in order, they make sense. I think they do line up. Like, I think Blood Boiling is weird. That's the only one I'm not sure about. I think it might be Eyes Without Pity, but that to me sounds like Perrin losing it and the Tuathon, giving him the Eyes Without Pity, or he's meeting Elias. That might be where we are with number 2, but Oblivion Crown sounds like what might be. That thinks it's got to be Accepted Testing and Flicker and Dreaming. Kindly Stranger maps up really easily with Strangers and Friends, which to me is when the girls go with Leandrin, and they take off. And I think you just said Elaine was episode 4. Elaine with the
Lantern.
holding the lantern.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was episode 4. So that's great. And then Sword in the Stomach, I think that one, I think it's going to have to be Sheathing the Sword.
Sorry, I
think that's
can't
going to be
even
the title, and I think it's going to be that's going to be amazing. But I think that's going to be Land training Rand. I think that we're going to see the training sequence there.
He's gonna teach him
which was
about
really great.
about sheathing the sword.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
You're just taking all the subtlety out of the writing.
And then yes. And then Victims of Night, Daughter of the Night. Like, I think that will be the official reveal that Lanfear is Lanfear. Like, I think we probably won't know up until that point.
okay.
That'll be the reveal. Yeah. And then
I can see
horses.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so here's my thing for horses. I think it's Damane, because I think the joke on whoever came up with the names is like, it's the mane of the horse. Get it, like a horse's mane? It's
Or
a
they
real push.
treat Damani like animals.
I mean, this is.
Yes,
Oh,
and the second one
wow.
is that they treat
Wow.
the Damani. Yes, and they treat
Okay.
the Damani like animals
All right.
because they're like.
I have to pull this. So
And
everyone
breaking a
thinks. Yeah. So the last, people think 83% of people think Lanfear is, but this is brilliant.
I mean, Jen, this is a good theory though, that they're specifically dummy titles, like fake titles that they gave because they didn't want to give the real ones. That's really interesting. I like that.
I think you said something that I not even taking these titles out of it for a moment. I think you said something that made me think a little differently, because Rebecca, I was in agreement with you that Daughter of the Night would be maybe episode 2.
Yeah.
That's telegraphing it. I think the Daughter of the Night might be episode 6 or so.
Yeah.
That's it's not when they really, not when Lanfear first makes an appearance, but more so when we first recognize, we know
what about
who it
this?
But what if you don't?
Dawson says horses
What?
equals 5 right fourth. Because horses 5 right 4th
Yeah.
as like.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt that is what it is, but that's an interesting. What were you gonna?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's a good alternate on the poll, and so that I can not vote for it.
So what were you gonna say, Rebecca? There.
Well, I think I see the point, and I went back and forth on that too, because I did think that the Daughter of the Night title could be used for when Lanfear is revealed.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a problem I have with that maybe is that I'm not sure Lanfear is going to be revealed until like episode 7 or 8. Like who she is, like really, like, and what she's doing. And again, I think these are the first 6. But it somewhat depends, right? Like, okay, so if you call the episode title Daughter of the Night, and maybe you don't even use that in the episode at all, like no one says that in the episode. It really depends, like what you show in that episode, right? And I don't know, maybe they really don't show much, or it's very subtle, and we're just like, we're on the lookout, but we're trying to figure it out. Like, so it depends on how much they really show. So I think it doesn't be like necessarily have to give it away. It depends on what's in the episode.
Yeah, it might be, plot lines or things that Lanfear has been doing, and now we see, okay, this is all the things that she's been doing, and that's the plan she had, or something like that. Maybe something like that, and that's why we see it, culminating, even though we don't know who she is. At least seeing, okay, these are all the seeds she planned to get to. I don't know.
I think if they're careful and if they're subtle, they can hint at it without revealing it. But it's just a guess.
This is interesting. Hoping Daughter of the Night just means we get the Dark Prophecy, because that is where it's mentioned in the books, and not introducing or revealing Lanfear. So yeah, that could definitely be something. That
gave me an idea. That's super interesting. Okay, so what if we got the Dark Prophecy in the White Tower? It was like scrawled somewhere in the White Tower.
And Varen's there.
And Varen's there.
Yeah.
And this is what gets Swan onto the idea that there are Black Aja in the White Tower, because we need something. Like if she is going to task the Accepted with looking for Black Aja, there needs to be a reason why she's doing that.
Yeah.
And in the case of what happened in The Dragon Reborn, it's because Liandrin and her, cohorts like killed some people and
they left.
Out. But that can't be that if Liandrin is going to be like tricking them into going with her. So it's got to be something else. So maybe that could happen. That would be really interesting.
I think that would.
That'd be really interesting.
The start of the Great Hunt and what the Dark Prophecy and what happens is such a great scene, right? It'd be a pity to like lose that. So to have that happen in Tarvalon, and Varen's there, I think that would work out really well.
Maybe that's part of the Matt storyline too, because if Matt is there, we still don't understand how the dagger got taken away from Matt yet, and with Matt being there, and maybe that's part of him being kept in a cell, in his apartments, because if maybe they don't know, did you do this? Are you the one who wrote this on the wall? And maybe he's still having those weird flashbacks where he doesn't know if it's him or not.
Wow.
Like the weird thing that he was doing, at the Grinwald farm, when he like didn't remember that he didn't do it.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
that'd be an interesting thought too.
Yeah. I don't know. I
love the idea of the Dark Prophecy. Who was it in chat that said that again?
I think I think it was Noman Garden. I think.
Okay.
I think Noman Garden. I think said that.
Noman Garden. I love it.
Yeah. No. I getting Dark Prophecy is would be awesome. Jen, what do you think? What do you think of what might be? Do you think we're gonna get Flicker? Are we using the Waygate as no portal stones? Will we get Flicker through that?
Yeah, I do, because since the very first time we saw the first image of the Waygate, I was like, they're going to just combine them with portal stones. Like they're so non-Waygate, and everybody's been up in arms about them. They're not like the Waygate. I think it's because it makes sense to make one traveling device for the show and have it maybe not work correctly if Rand does try to use it because he's not very good at it or whatever. But I think we can get Flicker there.
That might explain too why they're having Moraine Channel to open it, and they took out the whole event. Well, they didn't completely take out the Avenda Sorely thing. It's still a way of doing it. But you're right that if Rand is trying to channel to operate the Waygate, that and he doesn't do it
Yeah.
right, that could be how the flicker thing happens.
I love these theories.
Yes, and
This is
me
Wow.
too.
These are good.
I mean, because I do think, and Rafe has said this, that and Sarah, that they've made some of these decisions with like real thought and consideration and changes. It's just not like, okay, we need to change something, but they tried to change something, but also still make it make sense within the world. So having that would be so good.
It's really great because it's like, okay, Rand feels like he has to use the Waygate. He's seen Moiraine do it once, and he's like, all right, I can do it. I can do what she did. I saw it once, whatever. Not that he can see her channel, but and he just tries to do it, and
and like Moraine's there too. It's like, trying to teach him, but she can't. Yeah.
Love it.
The only
she
thing,
can't
the
do it 'cause
only thing,
that's
the
great.
only thing I wouldn't like about that would be the whole point of the flicker scene in the books is to have like Ingtar and Matt have these like, oh crap, what if moments.
Yeah.
And if it's just like Moiraine, Lan, and Rand, doesn't have quite the same hit to it.
Okay, so wait. Let me connect it. So what if at that point, a lot of people are going through the Waygate at the same time, and somehow the Waygates are connected, and they all get flickers.
So now we're going down the rabbit hole.
So now they're so they're in like a different Waygate, and because of that, everyone gets pulled into a flicker. And we get all the flickers. I mean, if you really want it, right? Think big. All right, Jen, before we let you go, so we talked about Daughter of the Night, Damane. I think the one that, it's open to a lot of interpretation, but Stranger and Friends, what do you think? Where does that fit in? So that's, if you look at this, it's like 2, 3, 4, 5, Stranger and Friends. Where do you think, who's that referring to?
I put it at 4, and I think it's with the girls, because I put it where Kindly Stranger fits in, and I put it with I think it's because Leandrin is a friend, but she's not, and she takes them to meet strangers, the Shantan. So that's where I'm going with that. But I think you're right. I mean, Nae'blis was saying this earlier. I think titles, to me, a good episode title has more than just one thing it's connected to.
Right.
So you make the title vague enough that you can fit your B and C stories as well. And I think that Strangers and Friends will probably be maybe Varen's introduction if she catches up with somebody along the way, or maybe it's maybe not, because if she's staying at the White Tower, but even Perrin meeting Elias along the way.
or
that might be
Avienda.
where he actually meets it.
I think Perrin meeting Avienda is possible for episode 4. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And that would be like a stranger. So I like that for.
Yeah, I would
Yep.
hope.
I love that.
They
I
get
love that.
Elias earlier, and then later on, Avienda comes in.
I agree. I think Elias is going to be in one of the earlier, maybe episode 1 even.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if they're going to start the search for the horn, like Perrin needs to figure out how to, use his wolf abilities. So to have
I'm
Elias show
guessing
up early,
he's there instead of Kieran.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that he could easily be there from the beginning with the hunt.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
No, awesome. Great theories, Jen. Thank
Great
you.
theories.
Yeah, awesome. Jen.
Yeah.
That was so great.
Are you excited? 5 weeks.
Just jumping off of all yours. Oh my God.
Yeah. Walk on.
Wait, what's in 5 weeks?
Yeah, so excited for WalkCon. I don't know, some strange convention in the middle of the country. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to meeting again, and thanks for calling in. We'll see you back in chat, and awesome theories. Thanks.
It was great. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for taking my call, and great theories. I'm having so much fun.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So wow, that's
I was going to add to something she said about episode 4. I mean, the title "Strangers and Friends," because I agree. I had it at episode 4 also, but I was thinking a little differently. Like, okay, so one of the things we know is in episode 4 is Moiraine in what looks to be Kyrian, like that image of her from the promotional stills. That's from episode 4, and it looks like she's in Kyrian. And I'm thinking that like Moraine and Lan are like meeting up with Rand and Kyrian. So that's like, friends, reconnecting. I think the Perrin and Avi thing, I agree about that. And the other thing that I think might happen in episode 4, because again, I'm thinking episode 4 is still in the White Tower. Like, I don't think they leave until maybe like the end of the episode. So it's more like maybe cementing Elaine's friendship with Egwene and Nynaeve, that like she is in this with them, searching for the Black Aja. Because if she comes into it, a little bit by accident, like again, like, maybe Swan isn't going to ask her. She just asks Egwene and Nynaeve. But Elaine comes into it and they fully decide to like trust her, maybe that's like sort of cementing their friendship.
Let's think about, I love that idea, Rebecca. Let's think about also some of the things that happen in the White Tower in book 3 too, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a gray man. We know Shiriam's being introduced, right?
Right.
What they can't have happen is what happens in the books when Elaine and Egwene meet each other and they go, "Oh, you're young too. Are we friends? Would you be my friend, Egwene? Would you be my friend, Elaine? Oh, we're best friends." Like that can't happen in the books or in the show. So like they've got to have some type of traumatic, like there has to be almost an arc in the tower. It can't just be a couple scenes of them working and then Leandrin comes and says, "Let's go." Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Matt is there, like something has to happen that kind of makes Matt maybe go with them too, or something, or maybe Matt goes with someone else, but somehow connects like an attack or something. I saw this, Jay Diggity, thank you for the super chat. Celine at the White Tower, I think what they're referring to is maybe Daughter of the Night and how the Dark Prophecy.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think if they're introducing Celine, it has to be with Rand. That makes the most sense. And having, Lanfear show up in the White Tower maybe makes a little bit of sense, but I would think it makes most sense to be with Rand. And, I don't know if I want that kind of seductive Lanfear with Rand and all of that. But, there is some, help me kind of, Rand trying to save someone kind of vibes. That's definitely possible. Rand could want to do that and help someone.
Yeah.
But I think having a White Tower arc that's episode 1 to 4 would be awesome. I think
that's what I think. Episode 1 through 4 is the White Tower arc. And again, I don't think Elaine's going to be their best friend from the beginning. Like I think episode 4 might like cement her as, okay, we're now ride or die together.
Ride or die.
But it's going to take, because that's how I always think of Elaine, right? Like that's one of the things I really love about her character is that I think she is a ride or die friend. But like, I don't think she can start off that way in episode 1 with them. Like there needs to be she gets there and they trust her, so that's why I'm thinking episode 4 might cement that as they end up working together to try to find the Black Aja. And so I think that could be the friend in that.
I'm hoping they don't automatically start friends. Like I'm hoping Egwene and Nynaeve kind of stick together and they're skeptical of Elaine, and yet somehow like Elaine gets involved and sees the gray man with them or something like that. That just ties them together where they feel like they have to trust Elaine. And then they grow into it. Right.
And then, and eventually they really wholeheartedly do trust her. But maybe at first it's like, okay, well, we're in this together because we have to be, like, we're in something dangerous together. And so I guess we got to trust her. And then at a certain point, they're like, okay, yes, we do trust her. She's earned it.
Yeah. I just thought of this. If they're going to use the gray man, how about Matt kills the gray man because like he's lucky or something, he just like happens to like
all about that.
Like if they're gonna introduce luck and use Matt, I'm assuming he's not always like trapped in this cell all the time, that he gets exactly, that would if they're gonna spend 4 kind of episodes in the tower, he gets to maybe practice in the courtyard with some warders, maybe. That might happen. But it'd be awesome if something like that happens and Matt gets involved too. actually more excited about that arc than I had been before tonight. So that's awesome. So okay, so let's just kind of recap. Let me look at the list. So A Taste of Solitude. You said Daughter of the Night next.
That's what I think.
Okay, and then we get
And
to
now
Dark
I'm
Prophecy.
loving it even more because of the
Yep.
Dark Prophecy
Okay.
idea. I think it's
And
gonna fit in.
then you said What Might Be, because Accepted Test and
Accepted Test.
Flicker.
And hopefully
both.
Flicker.
Yeah. And then Stranger and Friends is 4 because now they're friends and they're leaving the White Tower together.
Plus, like I
Avienda
said, I
meets
think
Perrin.
People meeting back up in Kyrian, you know,
Right.
I don't know. And then again, I think Perrin meeting Avienda. I think all that's in episode 4.
Okay. And episode 4 is probably like a good place to have that kind of fight between Perrin and Co actually get to meet the Shan-Chen in some capacity, and Uno gets captured and Loyal gets captured. There is a fight scene that happens, and Egwene gets collared at the end, and you've seen how bad that is. So that's like the cliffhanger ending, maybe. Or you're thinking afterwards?
We're talking about episode 4. Yeah.
Like, how does episode 4 end? Because that is your mid-season finale, right?
I think in terms of the White Tower arc ending in episode 4, they're just leaving the White Tower at the end of episode 4.
Okay.
And then I think Egwene isn't captured until the end of episode 5.
Yeah,
so I think episode 5 is like her, like they're traveling with Leandrin, maybe, if it goes that way in a similar fashion. And then and then captured, but we don't necessarily fully understand the implications of what's happened to her until episode 6.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's episode 5 is Loyal is with the Shan-Chen, right?
Loyal is already with the Shan-Chen.
Yeah, we don't have anything else in terms of Egwene, so we don't know when that Egwene collared screaming is from. Yeah.
No, we don't know when that's from, because that was like a video that didn't have an episode on it.
Although again, is it the same time as the Loyal shouting? Is that the first time she gets captured? It's hard to know. I mean, the timing, and it is night, and some of those that part where Uno's fighting.
Also, her screaming isn't necessarily her being captured. Like,
it could be.
It could be later. Like, she's been a prisoner for a bit.
Right.
I don't know. So.
No, you're right.
That almost looks like she's frustrated or something at that point. Less than, I don't know.
It's hard to know.
Maybe she's even.
I don't feel like that's right when she got captured. I guess I'll put it that way.
No, yeah, I don't think it's right then. It's more.
I don't think so either. Like, maybe she's even trying to take the collar off and realizing she can't, or something like that.
Yeah. Or she ended up doing something she really didn't. She was made to do something she didn't want to, and she's just like screaming because of that. Yeah.
So my guess is episode 5 is like the first episode where like they're out of the White Tower.
And so you think that is Eyes Without Pity, or?
Well, I do kind of by process of elimination, because I kind of have a place for every other title, and that's the one that's just kind of like left where it is. So I think that one's probably Eyes Without Pity, episode 5. Yeah.
So what do you think in terms of what does that one mean? I mean, okay, so I'm trying to think of eyes. So there's flame eyes. So there's that.
Murderall with a lack of eyes.
Well, the Murderall with the lack of eyes. I would think that would be early, right? That would be within the first 3 episodes before they get to Falmo. So if we're saying episode 4, Perrin and Co are meeting the Shan-Chen, the door draw would have happened already by then.
Oh yeah.
Perrin or Rand shooting Grom in the eyes, and just trying to think of eyes.
Okay. So with this one, I feel like we have to bring up what the chapter title was, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to use that, because like we've seen that they sometimes don't, right? Like in season 1, they used the title Blood Calls Blood. It had nothing to do with the Dark Prophecy, which is what the chapter title referred to. It was just like evocative. They liked the sound of it, whatever. But the chapter title, Eyes Without Pity, is Perrin, Egwene, and Elias running from ravens in the Eye of the World.
Yes.
And I just want to, so I don't know that
29.
something like that would fit at this point in the story. But I'll just bring it up to say that, I mean, that was always something that, like, when I read that scene, like, to me, it's very cinematic. So I think it would make a really great scene on film.
Mm-hmm.
And B, I think it's very thematic for Perrin's character if you can incorporate somehow the struggle that's going on in his mind. If you can bring that to the screen so we can see it and understand it, it's very thematic for him. And obviously, I mean, I don't think Egwene's going to be there, but you could put in a different, you could put in Avienda there or something. But so do you think they could fit in something like that? Or is it just not fit at that point in the story? Like, I'm not sure what, if Perrin is not captured by the Shan-Chan, like if Loyal is, but Perrin is not, what is he doing in this episode?
Right. I mean, again, Golden Eyes, are we seeing something there? The only other person I think who's like, dark and is Rand, right? I mean, not dark, but he's trying to be stone hard steel and all that, and his eyes could be without pity. I don't know how it fits.
It'd be early, I think, for that.
Yeah, exactly.
What if we're talking about, like, okay, if again going back, like, again trying to draw a thread. Okay, so in the chapter title, it was referring to ravens. Ravens are also associated with the Shan-Chan. Maybe it's like the Shan-Chan.
Oh, okay.
I do think this is going to be a Shan-Chan heavy episode, but
that definitely makes sense. I think they're going to show a lot of enough Shan-Chan, and then in the last 4 episodes, it's going to be that. Do you think any of this refers to anything White Cloak? Because we know the White Cloak are going to feature fairly heavily, at least in the back half with the fight with the Shan-Chan. Anything there? Eyes Without Pity. I couldn't really think of anything, but
I mean, it does kind of seem like it's just sort of like an evocative title that can maybe fit thematically with different things. And it's funny that I now think it's in the episode 5 spot, because it's the same weird spot that we had Blood Calls Blood from season 1, where it's that same thing where, like, they're taking a title that is
from another book
originally was. So maybe there's just something about that episode 5 spot where they're like, what weird, cool sounding title can we just pick and plunk in here?
Yeah. So by that measure, you're saying episode 6 is the Damane episode.
I really think it is, because I think it's going to be the first episode where we're, like, fully seeing Egwene as a Damane and coming to terms with what it means to be a Damane.
Okay, so she gets captured in episode 5, and you see you see all of her kind of.
I think the end of the episode 5 is the realization that Liandrin has betrayed them.
Okay.
And Egwene is captured, but it's not until episode 6 where we get to really see, like, what her situation is. Like, she's Damane. What does it mean to be Damane? Like, I think that starts in episode 6. Because, I mean, like I said, I think personally 2 full episodes of Egwene as Damane that's gonna cover it, I think. And then again, she'd still be Damane for part of episode 8, probably.
Yeah, and I like the fact that there needs to be at least one episode that there's a lot of focus on Egwene, because this is, like, huge in her arc later on, right? This is very central to a lot of the way she thinks for the rest of the series, right? So showing and focusing on that would make a lot of sense. Nae'blis, you got any thoughts on how that happens? Episode 5 and 6, Eyes Without Pity, Damane. Any other thoughts?
No, I think Rebecca actually nailed it. I think, first of all, everybody should always listen to Rebecca. She's wrong less than I am. So
actually, if you're never wrong.
I'm never wrong, but she's never wrong.
Never
wrong. I really think, I mean, there's been a lot of really good theories laid out about some of these episode titles. I mean, I do think we're missing. I think we've got 6. I would say that if this is coming, and Camille's usually great. I mean, these are factual as you get. Let's just put it
Right.
that
I mean, it's from the it's from the Writers
And
Guild.
it's
of
from the
America.
Writers
Right.
Guild of America. I mean, this is accurate. This is not
at
horses.
some point,
Okay.
these were the script titles, right? Maybe they
Right.
changed them. At some point, these were actual
Correct.
titles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But this, it makes perfect sense too, because these are chapter titles, and that's like a pattern that they're following of choosing chapter titles for episode titles, and they got plenty to choose from, so why not?
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Okay, so this is the hard part. We got 2 left.
Mhm.
You have to come up with 2.
Come up with
episode
2 more.
7 and episode 8.
Okay, well, we already know what one of them is 100%, because if it isn't this, we're going to have the riot to end all riots, right, Rajesh?
Yes, yes.
I don't know if Rajesh was watching tonight, but the
I
grave
think-
is no bar to my call has
Okay.
to be one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, if they teased that on that little not trailer clip, but that little teaser clip on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
if they teased that and then don't pay it off, what? Like,
Yeah.
it
It's
would
an
almost be
episode
like
title.
showing a clip of
Got it.
Egwene coming out of the water and then not putting it in the show. Like, that's how bad it.
Who would do that?
Who would do
Who
that?
would do it?
Would do that.
No one
Now,
would do
on a
that.
side note, though, that clip did get shown publicly.
It
It
did.
got shown at WatCon.
It did.
All of you should come to WatCon. All right. I'm plugging it. I'm done.
Okay.
All right, I just ended the poll about the horses referred to Damani, and not many people bought it. So, so I have a couple of here. So people are saying episode 8 is the grave is no bar to my call.
I think so.
Yes, I think so too.
There is, Mr. James says, well, I mean, the Horn of Valier or the Great Hunt. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
but
The
we
Great Hunt wouldn't make so much sense because the hunt's kind of over at that
yeah,
point.
exactly. Yeah, there's
And the
let's see.
grave is no bar to my call is more like evocative than just the horn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So,
But
Yeah.
you know what it's definitely better than?
horses.
Call of the Plunder.
Call of the Plunder. It's better than Call of the Plunder.
I mean, I think it's got Call of the Plunder. It's got a better ring to it than
Yeah.
Call of the Plunder.
A little bit. It's a
a
little,
little
better.
bit. Yeah. No.
Call of the
course.
Plunder is like movie 10 in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, I think. Like that's what that feels like to me. Like that's like the straight to video Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Call of the Plunder
That's so true.
with Scott Baio as Captain Jack Sparrow. Okay, I'm done. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
sounds like a-
so episode
no.
6 is Damani, episode 7 is Domani. So yeah, that works out. That works out.
Domani.
But so this is my
Exactly.
here's okay. This episode 8 is Bail Doman's okay.
Something?
Yeah. So this is my thought. I thought episode 7 is the grave is no bar to my call. Because at the end of episode 7, Matt blows the horn. And episode 8 is the fight, and episode 8 is called sheathing the sword, because that's what Rand has to do to defeat Ishamel. So
I mean, I think you could
so
make a
he
case
so because he
for-
learned that lesson, and now episode 8, that's what it's called, because he has to, like, he's all about fight, but he actually has to win. To win, he has to do that. So I think that's one way they could do it, or quite easily the last episode is the grave is no bar to my call, because that is all about the horn.
It's definitely one of the last 2 episode titles.
Right.
I lean towards it being 8, but
Yeah.
you could push it to 7 maybe, depending. It just depends, I guess, on what the other one is. What I was
Well-
trying to think of for the other one.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to say, Nae'blis, first?
No, I was going to say, I think it fits. I could see it as episode 7. And I say that
Yeah.
because it didn't happen in season 1, but these shows tend to make their penultimate episode, like the second to last episode, sort of the action peak.
Yeah.
Right? And then
mean-
they sort of wind it down in episode 8. I don't see the show doing that, but I could also, if they did
Right.
it, I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't think they're going to do wind down in episode 8. I definitely don't think they're going to do wind down in episode 8. So yeah, but I know what you're talking about. The Game of Thrones.
I've tried to think of this a lot. So episode 7 ending with the horn. Episode
Yeah.
8 cold opens with Arthur Hawkwing cold open from years ago, and Ishamel is there too, and is telling him to send the Shanshan over or something. And then the actual episode starts with Arthur Hawkwing and the heroes fighting. So the first 15 to 20 whatever minutes is just the
cool.
fight. half an hour, and then you have.
So
the
what
rest.
if I took a twist on that, Anas?
Yeah.
What if the cold open was exactly what you described? Arthur Hawkwing back in the day,
Yeah.
Shamael's there,
Yeah.
convinces him, sends the.
Yeah.
Then we have no idea the context. That ends. We watch the whole episode. We get to the end. Horn blows. Arthur Hawkwing shows up.
Wait, at the end of the season?
Yeah.
The season
then-
ends without the fight?
No, the season ends with the fight.
Okay,
right?
so
Like
okay,
that-
yeah, okay.
When that's over, it's done.
Yeah.
Right? The fight will be like 7 people with crossbows, and then the heroes of the horn, like all 3 of them, and they'll have a crossbow, and they'll take a couple shots. They'll ride their horses across the field, and then we'll be there, right?
This is gonna be episode 8 has to land. It has to be this huge
will.
fight.
It
Yeah.
will.
It's not gonna be 20 white cloaks versus 30 Sean Chen and 3 heroes. It has to be. It has to be big. I mean, we've seen that one picture of like all those
Cavalry
ships
charge, crossbows.
It has to be a huge. It can't be 10 horses. It has to be a lot of horses. And
Yeah, at least 11.
Yeah. So I mean, we know episode 8 is Perrin and Rand from the first look. So it's Rand. Looking all Jedi, and then Perrin and
Avi, and you can see Massima.
Massima, yeah. So a lot of things have happened where maybe Massima was captured and they escaped, and that's why he has the Shanchen armor, and that kind of fits in. Maybe that he was captured and maybe escaped, and that's why he has that armor.
Well, I'm not sure when you
don't think it's
about it that way. Some of those shots that we have that we know are episode 8. It's a little harder for me to think that the horn can be blown at the end of episode 7, because I feel like once
right
is blown,
mm-hmm.
things are just like, it's got to resolve pretty quickly. Like, I mean, you're going to get into like chaotic, stuff and the fight.
Right. The Rand Turok thing should happen before.
Yeah.
No, I now you got me. I think that makes sense. That it probably has to happen. So that
in episode
kind
8.
of episode 8 is The Grave Is No Bar to My Call.
Yeah.
So what is episode 7? Do you have any thoughts?
So my thought went to, and I really don't know, but the way I tried to think about it was like, okay, so we know that, this season has to cover a lot of the Dragon Reborn. And I think we kind of, pretty clearly are not going to include certain parts of the Dragon Reborn. Like in no part of this is Tyr. In no part of this is the Stone or Kalendor. Like that's just not in it. But we talked about some of the things from the Dragon Reborn, like the Black Aja plot, like bringing that forward. Maybe but I'm trying to think about like what other elements from the Dragon Reborn can we kind of like move forward into this season. And the main thing that I think needs to be moved forward, if you're going to move into the Shadow Rising in season 3, is the Aiel. The Aiel as like an important player, and their connection to Rand specifically. So that is something that I think needs to be moved forward, because Rand needs to have a reason to move as he does in the next season. So I don't know, so it was one of the titles that like jumped out. I looked at the Dragon Reborn chapter titles to see if there's some towards the end of the Dragon Reborn that are kind of evocative of this, that aren't like specifically linked to Tyr. So
the last one,
the dragon, jumped out to me because that's Aiel specifically. And then if it wasn't that, the other one that jumped out at me was like what is written in prophecy is another good one.
I think what about Maidens of the Spear? That could be. I mean, we should have seen them before episode 7, but maybe that's the one where they're like.
So
I mean, we're definitely going to see them before episode 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Rebecca, I have a thought, and I want to hear plausibility. This is about as loony of a theory as you get from Nae'blis. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of loony theories.
Heroes of the Horn. Heroes of the Horn. Episode 7 is titled "The Grave Is No Bar to My Call." Heroes of the Horn happen. We have seen this Waygate in like the beach jungle multiple times. No part of what we have seen of Falma is beach jungle.
True.
What if we get Tyr And what if we get a jump? I'm not joking here, actually. Like, what if we get a jump?
You mean
to Tyr in
Kalendor?
Kalendor in episode 8? It's hinted at.
Everybody-
So wait.
Boom,
Episode
we
8
go there,
is
right?
it's not sword in the stomach, it's sword in the stone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sword in the stomach, because he'll
Stone.
stick it in the Dark One's stomach.
Stomach, yeah.
I'm joking, but
I feel like I've heard this before, and I don't actually mind the idea necessarily. The only thing that gets me stuck is the stills that are supposedly from episode 8 of like that are clearly in foam.
Mm-hmm.
sure. So, but they can still start there.
I mean, only
Unless
Rand
it's,
has
of
to
course,
go.
like
Only Rand
Seraph
has to
and-
go, right?
Like, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's a chance, there's a possibility, right, that there's a jump there or something. Because I still am struggling to figure out, like, is that supposed to be like an oasis where that thing is? Like, where does that fit in the
Yeah.
story?
No,
'Cause it doesn't look like
don't know.
Kyrie either.
Unless it's
Yeah.
steading and it's like from early when initially Loyal takes the Great Hunt to a steading and there's a Waygate and that's how they start traveling like initially for the hunt. That might be where
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, it would be kind of wild. I mean, I'm not totally opposed to the idea. I don't. It's just I don't know how much Falma can you have in that episode
True.
before you then shift to like, okay, so if you have Falma where things are,
Mhm.
again, I go back to, I think once the horn is blown, you need to move very swiftly into the resolution of the fight.
Right.
Like,
Agreed.
I don't think you can blow the horn and then have like some of these scenes of like, I don't know, like smaller scenes of
like Avienda fighting and
Yeah,
Perrin's
or
just
like
standing
the-
there
need to
without
get
her.
they
I mean,
need to
Perrin
get
has-
that scene where Avienda slides down the horn of the Oliphant while the ghosts are attacking
Yeah.
him, which I'm afraid
No,
they
but
need to
it's
have that.
interesting. You're right. If episode 8 and the horn's blown and Perrin doesn't even have a weapon, is just because in that shot Perrin has no weapon. That's a kind of
True.
odd thing. I mean, it's possible, but I would hope by then he's grabbed something, and defending himself at least.
Yeah, because again, like, look, I don't know. Like, I just think I don't want to also like shortchange like the fight in Falma by then having another fight in another location. I kind of feel like you need to have like one big fight, but I don't know. I don't know. It's I originally long ago, before we knew where they were going to go, had come up with a way that they could cut Falma out completely and move everything to Tyr, but they didn't do that. So,
Right.
I don't know.
Here's the only reason why I even entertain the idea that they do it. The only reason I even entertain it, because next season, if you're doing any type of climactic thing happening in Tyr to get to the point that you're so, like, I think here's what they're going to have to do. If they don't do it this season, Rand is going to go to the waste before he goes to Tyr.
Mhm.
He's going to bring the Aiel across with him, and they take Tyr.
Mhm.
That's what I think happens
Okay.
in season 3. That's my guess. But I shouldn't have said that. Shoot.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Like, I
Mostly
guess I'm
Dragon
mixing
Reborn.
stuff up here, but he goes to Tyr in
Yeah.
Dragon Reborn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how they do that in like episode 3, because it's such a climactic moment. How are you taking Kalendor?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I personally think that Kalendor and the Stone of Tyr is going to be a later season, like not even season 3. Like they're just shifting that because, okay, so like we
To
know
not-
Rand takes
yeah.
Kalendor in the Dragon Reborn, but then,
Let's.
well,
We can't talk too much. Yeah, exactly.
I can't say too much but like it's just it's more important later. That's all. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. It's
Yes.
not necessarily super important that Rand have Kalendor for season 3.
I think the way the first 3 books were written, Kalendor needed to be part of that, but that's all I'm going to say. You're right. The reason to go to Tyr is Kalendor. Do we need Kalendor this early? No. So that's
I
why-
don't think so. I
Yeah.
think they can just put that off until a later season when they want
Right.
to have
Yeah.
that enter the story. And but I agree, like, if we're, traveling with Aiel, that's the part that's important. Like making the Aiel important, central, to Rand, that's something that happens at the end of the Dragon Reborn
Hmm.
that we kind of need to have happen, I'd say.
All right, Thatcher just brought up an interesting twist on the theory I just gave. All right, let me repaint the picture here.
Okay.
Okay.
So episode 8 is the grave is no bar to my call.
Mhm.
Okay.
Rand has got his hoodie up like in the picture. He's walking up ready to kick some Turok and somebody else's butt, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That fight with I guess we're spoilers through here. So that fight with the Dark One,
Mhm.
right? Moves
feel like
from
we can
there
say-
to Tyr.
Well,
can say-
we can give spoilers
can
to the
say
end of
that-
the
okay,
Dragon
we can call
Reborn,
it
so we can
Shamael.
say
Okay.
who
So
it is.
Shamael,
His
yeah.
fight with a Shamael goes to Tyr in the like mid fight, like that. It
Yes.
happens where they
That
go.
could happen.
Yeah.
There is some, like I'm trying, and they take people with them, like Avienda runs through or whatever. Like I'm just trying to say, like they can get them from Falm to Tyr, and we could begin season 3 in Tyr.
Mhm.
You're saying that like basically the fight is going to be in 2 locations. Like it starts in Falmouth
Yes.
and then somehow everybody moves through Waygates.
And look, there's way that could happen, whether it's traveling, whether it's a waygate, whether it's I'm sure they could figure out some way to do this, or not all the characters, maybe some of them, but like
Yeah.
if we
Only-
wanted to get there,
The
I
only
think
real evidence for it though is the tropical Waygate, right? Aside from that,
Yeah.
there's nothing that suggests it. So
You're
that
right.
would
You're
suggest
right.
that
Other than we need to
They've
get there if they
yeah.
want to stick super close, right? I will say this: if we never get to see Tyr, I will be a little upset as a
no,
fan.
we will.
You mean
because
like anywhere?
We already
or-
did kind of, but like not
Yeah.
really.
They didn't tease it and set it up and show a little tiny stone of Tyr in the background for us to never get it. Like
Yes.
I'm 100% sure we're going to get that at some point. I just think it's going to be later.
Hmm.
All right, but as we were talking about that, I did start our mug giveaway raffle, so I'm putting that in there again. It's exclamation point raffle. Just enter it once, you'll be entered into the giveaway. I'll end it in just a little bit, probably in the next minute or two, as we kind of come towards the end of our discussion. So, what do you want to call it then? Do you want to call it like the stone of Tyr, the sword in the stone, Kalendor? What is your episode 8 title then? Any of those?
It's still the grave is no bar to my call. That's what it
Okay.
is.
All right. Yeah. I think that makes the most sense. I'm a little sad because of the fact that Perrin Avi, we know that's episode 8.
Yeah.
That would be really odd
Mm.
to see something like that happen if the horn's already been blown. Like,
Yeah, that's why I get a little bit stuck on that.
Yeah,
That I think
yeah.
the horn has to blow in episode 8. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then I agree. I think we all kind of like that is the title for episode 8, and episode 7 is more of the mystery. And for now, my best guess is the people of the dragon, because I want them to make the Aiel like
Hmm.
to have a little bit more focus on the Aiel leading
Yeah.
into season 3.
season 3.
And that's a title that would fit with that.
Do you think we'll get like a teaser at the end, like we did with the Shan with the Aiel coming across the dragon wall and killing a little girl on the beach?
Definitely. Yeah.
You don't-
Just
you don't think we'll
that
get it?
one girl in particular.
Anas doesn't like my sarcasm.
No,
All right.
no, well, no, I know. I think the way they. I mean, I think this is. I think a lot of people have said this, so I don't think this is something that I've thought of. But it should end with Rand opening a gateway and everyone somehow ends up in the waste or something like that. Like you can just transport everyone to the waste, and that's where season 3 goes. I mean, because what else? Like, how are you going to transition if you're not going to Tyr? If you're introducing the Aiel, how do you go from Falma all the way to the next book and the waste without something like that happen?
I mean, they can take an episode at the beginning to do that because
Yeah.
That's fitting, I would say. But
Yeah, I think so. But I think if they give us things along the season where Egwene's having dreams of the wise ones, that you have to go to you have to come to them, and other things like that it's possible they could make that work. I think that would work out. I think to have Tyr happen at the end of season 2 is kind of shortchanging it. So I think if they're going to do tier, from what it sounds like, there's at least from the leaks for season 3, Camelin's going to feature a lot in season 3.
Yep.
So if
Yep.
Camelin's featuring, then are we going to get tier much later, like you're saying, Rebecca? It's
That's
possible.
what I think. I think
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
I don't
It'll
know
be-
what season, but later
It'll be
when it
later
hits.
season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. I've seen a lot of people enter. I'm going to end the raffle here. And let's see who has won a mug tonight. And all right, let's see. I hope this works. George Harris, you have won a Dusty Wheel mug. So reach out to me on Discord, Twitter, and we'll get this to you. And the way I do it is actually I do send you a mug, as opposed to what Matt does now. Is I don't know what Matt does now. He sends you a gift card or something. Yeah.
The shade.
Shade.
The shade.
Literally what I
Oof. Oof.
Hey, there's this excitement of getting something in the mail and you open it and it's I mean, it's just awesome, right?
That's true. That's
It is
true.
true. Yeah.
I can attest.
But thank you. Thank you for.
You want to know
guys,
proof that Kevin Angus is my long lost best friend? He literally made the same joke I was about to make in chat before I made it.
Is it?
He's my favorite Beatle,
Yeah.
George Harris. So,
I was thinking that too.
like, legitimately, I don't know how that happens, but Kevin, you're the man.
Hey, it sometimes.
And so are you, George.
Yeah. Congrats, George. Reach
I
out.
love While My Guitar Gently Weeps. So thank you for that, George.
I mean, Nabe, sometimes you meet people, and you have the same
Mhm.
brain, and you met Kevin, Have you ever? You've met Kevin. You've actually met Kevin.
Oh,
right?
yes. Oh,
Yes,
yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. I think I was there when you actually first met Kevin at JordanCon. Yeah.
I think
and-
you were there, actually.
Yeah, I think I felt it.
Like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. I think we plotted. Not only did we fit in, we plotted the whole. I think we have
I think we crushed it.
a good
Mhm.
70% of this season arced out. I want to be surprised, but I think a lot of that is, they haven't given a lot of stuff, but for what they've given us, I'm excited. I think this is going to be, they have to land episode 8. I think that's going to be episode 1. Obviously they have to start well, but they have to end
Episode
well.
8.
It has to be,
agreed.
It's gonna be a good one. Yeah,
it
I
has
agree.
to be a good one.
Agreed.
All right. WalkCon in 5 weeks, guys. So let me,
See you there.
Yeah,
Hope a lot
thinking
of
about
people in the chat
going.
are going to be there.
Thinking
yeah.
about going.
yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be awesome. Any other calls? Anything else that you guys want to talk about? I'll link your stuff in our in the description. The mods can put your stuff. So Nae'blis, your YouTube channel, that's awesome. TheGreatBlight.com is an amazing place, and of course WalkCon. And then Rebecca, what are you up to nowadays? I don't know how many hats.
So I'm too busy with walk to be making a lot of content lately, but I, reading the pattern is my YouTube channel. And if I'm lucky, I might have some time tomorrow to work on some content for it. So there's definitely material to be covering at this point. So
Yeah.
hopefully you'll see some new stuff from me soon.
Okay, what do you guys think? Trailer, teaser. When is the teaser?
It'll be at Comic-Con.
So
Almost
the
mid-con.
the first teaser is going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. It's going to be
I think
July 20.
Yep.
Okay, Rebecca, what about you?
I think that's too late for the first one, if there's going to be 2, because I think that's 1 month out. And if there's going to be 2, I think that's too late for the first one, personally. I think maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get it.
Remember,
before.
streaming, they pile it on very late in the game. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
Movies.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. The Good Omens trailer came out today, I think, and it's end of July is when it's airing. So this is their trailer, not the teaser. I think I have to look at the
okay.
numbers. I think I have to think about it.
Yeah,
I
mean,
think
that's more than a month out from their premiere. And again, I mean, it somewhat depends. If there's only one, then I think San Diego Comic-Con can
I mean,
make.
we did already get a teaser.
Yeah, doesn't count. Doesn't count.
no, I don't think it was. I think okay. I don't know anything, right? I think we're getting a teaser within the next 2-3 weeks. I think we're like looking at how they did it last time. By the end of June, a teaser and then trailer later on. It might not be at San Diego Comic-Con. There might be a lot of other stuff they drop at San Diego Comic-Con, and the trailer actually comes afterwards, like in August.
Trailer could be August.
Wait,
August?
We don't want that.
No.
I really think teaser in the next few weeks would make a lot of sense. It would. Or we just get Origins in the next few weeks. That might be the other thing.
Past Nae'blis' bedtime. I think we gotta put him to bed.
This is awesome. All right. So if there's a teaser in the next few weeks, we are going to have
Trailer Gaiden, and Matt and I we've started to do some testing in how we're gonna do this, but expect a full day of content. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you both of you for joining me tonight. This is awesome. Everyone in chat, thank you. Our mods in chat, you guys are awesome, keeping this a safe place. I love being at the Dusty Wheel, love being in chat. And everyone, doing awesome stuff and keeping this community a safe place on Twitter, social media. Thank you for all of that. But with that, as we say around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel, and smash to black.
Welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. You went right to kill it. Look at you, you're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is one
really
of the
well.
biggest scenes.
And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
Sad.
not wearing one.
I see Lukomi as something along the lines of a Shida Haran analog. For
it does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Remove challenge. Yay!
Pair of like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all
This
of
is
a
not
sudden,
just
it's like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi
And
elements.
just a
for
moment
those that are
ago,
kind of interested.
Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me, and
Probably I would say
let's
put
get
in
talking.
70-80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no,